Hi everyone, welcome to A Godly Home, and this is Testimony Thursday, and I have Marissa with me from What Isn't Art, and if you haven't checked out her channel, go check that out. It is super awesome. Today we're going to be talking about Till the Storm Passes By. So I have never been a fan of thunder showers. They really freak me out, and last Wednesday, I was outside transplanting tomatoes, and I stepped inside to get something. I had forgotten something, and right when I stepped inside, there was this rumble, and the rumble was like so strong that it shook my whole house like an earthquake, and I was like, whoa. And right then I heard my telephone go off, so I went to see who was messaging me, and it actually was a warning that it was going to be a severe storm, and they said with 70-mile-an-hour winds that had the capability of taking the roof off of trailers, sheds, that kind of thing, and there was supposed to be hail the size of quarters. And immediately I thought, oh no, why did I pick tonight to transplant my tomatoes? They're gone for sure. And then I thought, oh no, what about my neighbors? What about anybody that's living in something that their roof could be gone? And then my house is older, and I thought, oh my gosh, what is the wind going to do to that? And I started to feel, honestly, a little bit fearful. And the dog was like crying, like bawling nonstop, like she was setting off a siren or something, as she crawled up underneath the bed, just totally petrified and wouldn't come out. And we weren't getting, at that point, any lightning or any rain, but it was just those rumbles, and those rumbles had a strength unlike anything I had ever felt before. And so I decided what I needed to do was I needed to just lay down on the bed, since the dog was under the bed, and I thought that might calm her down a little bit if I was with her. And I shut the bedroom door, and I started to pray. And I could hear myself praying out loud, and I was like, Lord, pass us over. Lord, pass us over. Just pass us over. And then I didn't realize I was doing this, but I started singing the song Till the Storm Passes By. And then pretty soon I heard my phone go off again. And when I looked, it said that the storm had passed over my area and was headed out to where all the lakes are, like out in the area where I went to rescue my parents last year. If you've been with the channel for a while, then you know what I'm talking about. And so that was a relief. Nobody lives out that way. There's like not any houses. It just would be a matter of if somebody happened to be camping out there, or if somebody was staying at the lodge, something like that. But it was at that point when I read that, I realized, wait, I've been laying here on the bed singing during the storm. Who does that? There's a million things I could be doing, but my initial response was to pray, followed by just start joyfully singing away. And Marissa is going to tell you about her experience of that night. Also, she lives a few miles away from me in one town over.
So that evening, my sister-in-law had been over, and we just visited for a little while. I had had one of her pets over for the weekend, and she was coming to pick it up. And we started to hear the thunder, and it was loud, but it was in the distance. And so we were like, well, probably should hit the road and head out. And so she headed out, and I just started doing things around the house. And then as I'm getting ready to do something in the kitchen, I look out the window and the wind, oh, the wind was just whipping in ways that I haven't seen in a while. And I realized that the donkey was still outside. And so I ran outside to put her in before the storm really picked up. And while I was out there, I started to hear it more than just nearby, but directly overhead, and I started to see lightning in the area. And so I got her in really quick and ran in the house and prepared for a storm. And I could not tell you what I prayed. I knew my sister-in-law had just left my house maybe 10 minutes before, and I remember stopping, not having the words to pray, but thinking, God, you know what's going on, and you know how to keep us safe, and I'm asking you to do that. And I just kept that up for the time that we were in the storm, and it did not last very long at all. It lasted a few minutes. It was the worst thunderstorm I ever remember seeing. And there were times that I could feel the lightning coming down, and that was a really weird feeling, and yet God protected. My sister-in-law, who had an hour's drive, saw none of it. She drove right past it. It did not affect her trip at all, and it left my area very quickly as well.
Oh, praise God. Can you imagine if that storm had hit full force with what little bit we got of it, what kind of a storm that would have been?
Yeah.
And there was not even a drop of rain really at my house.
None at mine either.
Which was amazing, because the hail would have been quite damaging. So it reminds me of a Bible story. And you guys know I'm going to be reading from New Living Translation. And this is Luke chapter 8. And I'm going to be reading verses 22 through 25. One day Jesus said to his disciples, "Let's cross over to the other side of the lake." So they got into a boat and started out. On the way across, Jesus lay down for a nap, and while he was sleeping, the wind began to rise. A fierce storm developed that threatened to swamp them, and they were in real danger. The disciples woke him up, shouting, "Master, Master, we're going to drown." So Jesus rebuked the wind and the raging waves. The storm stopped, and all was calm. Then he asked them, "Where is your faith?" And they were filled with awe and amazement. They said to one another, "Who is this man that even the winds and waves obey him?" I love that story. Marissa, do you remember when you were a kid and we did the Rescue Zone Vacation Bible school? And we had this story, and then we had that song, "Peace Be Still."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think of that every time there's something for a dangerous storm that I'm experiencing. And guys, I thought I'd just share with you a few dangerous type situations I've been in with thunder showers. And the first one is my husband and I, Corey, were out in a canoe, and we were to the other side of a lake, and we headed back across the lake, and we just got started, and this storm picked up, and the waves were so big on the lake, they were coming into the canoe, and I was in the front, and they were just coming in and coming in and coming in, and we were paddling straight on into it, just as fast as we could to get to the other side. And I had a church meeting, and not only did we make it to the other side, but I went running into the church in my fishing clothes, but I made the meeting on time.
That's sounds like us. The year Mom had all 4 of us kids in the canoe, and we'd gone out for a picnic. And we had kids choir. And God brought us back. We made it. Mom was struggling. 4 kids. She said, I don't know how I'm going to do it. She prayed, and she got out and walked the canoe back. She found the shoreline, and she walked the canoe with all 4 of us back. But God provided a way to get back.
Wow. That is amazing. And I'm sure it was the same lake that we were on.
Probably.
And another time I was out in the boat with my parents, and it looked like thunder showers, and we were out there like for the day, and I kept saying, Dad, it looks like thunder showers. He'd be like, oh, it's going to pass over. Oh, it's going to pass over, because he didn't want to leave the lake. It was so beautiful out there. And so finally it come up, and it come up fast, and it come up hard, and he went to start the motor on the boat, and the boat wouldn't start. There we sat, praying, and then finally the motor started, and we rode all the way back with the lightning coming right down on the lake, but we made it okay. And another time I was out in the canoe with Corey, and this terrible hailstorm came, and that was several years ago, the one that damaged everybody's vehicles and stuff like that. And we were out on the lake, and we come in with the canoe fairly fast. We weren't too far out that day. And we started to load that canoe, and it was raining, and lightning was coming down all around us. And we had to get it loaded and get out of there, because we were blocking the boat launch ramp, and other people need to get in and out. It's not like we could just say, oh, leave it there and we'll just sit in the pickup.
Yeah.
And so we got the canoe on once, and Corey started to go, and we lost the whole canoe in the road out of the back of the pickup. And we got out, and we realized it was raining so hard and fast it had filled the canoe.
Oh,
and then that's why it flipped the whole canoe out, because we just kind of put it kitty cornered into the back and roped it down fast, and we weren't that far to get back to where we were camping. But so we got out, and we were trying to dump the canoe out with the lightning coming down around us, and we were standing, ankle deep in puddles at that point, because it was raining so hard, and I don't even think I had shoes on. Maybe he did. So when we got back to where we were camping, our camper was fine. I think it had leaked a little water, but it was fine. And everybody we talked to in that town had their vehicles damaged. Our vehicle wasn't damaged. Our camper wasn't damaged. And then we come home to check on Jacob. He was here alone, and everything was fine here. He didn't even know there had been a major storm. Like, yes, it was a little thunder shower, but no hail or anything like that. Do you remember that storm a few years back?
I don't.
You don't?
No.
Yeah, you might not have gotten it where you were at that time. And then my final story, when I first bought the house, there was a lot of really bad thunder showers that year, and the windows were old in the house. So my house sits on ledge, so a lot of times in a bad storm it will shake the house pretty bad. And that summer they were just constant, and Corey was working away from home, and I was here alone, and Jacob was like 3 years old. And they would hit so hard, and the house would shake, and it would rattle the windows open on the top panels. They would just shoot right down. And I never been so scared in my life. And that was the same summer of the Vacation Bible School.
Yes.
So there was a lot of time of me sitting there like, peace be still, Jesus calms the storm.
Yep.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
I can remember one time, my parents were taking the next brother down in age and myself to a Bible camp, it was a training camp for teenagers to go out and be able to share the gospel with kids around them. And it was quite the drive. It's an all-day experience for the family. So they had loaded the kids up and driven us all the way down to the other end of the state and dropped us off. And they had to drop us off in the evening. So they decided to stop halfway at my grandparents' and spend the night. And when they got home the next day, our road that we were living on at the time had been washed out.
Oh, wow.
And the road they would have taken, there was other ways to go, which is how they ended up getting home. But God kept them out of that because it washed out almost directly at our house. And what had happened was 2 storms collided, and then the place we were living, there was a lot of natural springs, and the storms colliding and everything, it just overflowed and went everywhere. But they were safely 2 hours away.
Wow.
And then they were able to come home in the peace without the storm, and then be there. They didn't have to go anywhere after the fact.
Wow.
While things were being repaired.
Wow, that's amazing. So I know some of you watching are probably thinking you're just talking about thunderstorms. Where I live, we get major, devastating storms that wipe everything out. And we are very fortunate that we don't live in a location that gets those types of storms. But whether you're experiencing what we experience or you're experiencing more serious storms, God will still protect you, and He will still give you wisdom on what you need to do in that situation. If you were in a bad storm that wiped out your entire home, something like that, He would give you wisdom on what you needed to do from there to pick up the pieces and to move forward. If you have never accepted Jesus as your Savior, I will have the information on doing that in the description box. Do you have anything you want to add, Marissa, before you sing to us?
Can't think of anything.
Okay, Marissa is going to sing Till the Storm Passes By.
In the dark of the midnight have I oft hid my face, while the storm howls around me, and there's no hiding place. Mid the crash of the thunder, precious Lord, hear my cry. Keep me safe till the storm passes When the long night has ended and the storms come no more, let me stand in thy presence on that bright, peaceful shore, in that land where the tempest never comes. Lord, may I dwell with thee when the storm passes by. Till the storm pass over, till the thunder sounds no more, till the clouds roll forever from the sky. Hold me fast, let me stand in the hollow of thy hand. Keep me safe till the storm passes by. Keep me safe till the storm passes by.
Thank you, Marissa. That was absolutely beautiful. All right, guys, this is an open collaboration. If you have a testimony or a song or something to share, go ahead and make a video and I'll put it in the playlist. Or if you have a testimony that you want me to share, then you can just email me your testimony and I can share that. Or if you have prayer requests, we're here to pray with you. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next week. Bye.